Good morning. We want to begin the day with a voice that I consider perhaps the avatar of the family of life for New England, the wood thrush. It's called the well-tempered wood thrush.
Good morning. Welcome, everyone. It's hard to describe what it's been like sitting up here watching everybody process in and being back with Paul and hearing that incredible music. I'm Alec Webb. I serve as the president of Shelburne Farms, and it's a huge honor to be here to welcome you all here today. If you aren't familiar with Shelburne Farms, we're a nonprofit educational organization. Our mission is to inspire and cultivate learning for a sustainable future. We offer programs for youth and for our community, and we're part of a global network of educators for sustainability. This amazing historic structure, once a private estate horse barn, is now part of our 1,400-acre campus on the homeland of the Abnaki and on the land and the working farm that the nonprofit is stewarding today. We're so grateful to be part of the Earth Charter movement, grateful to everyone who's been working on the charter over so many years, and to everyone who's made this gathering possible. Many of you were here on September 9th, 2001, to celebrate the Earth Charter just 2 days before 9/11. Today, we're coming together again out of both concern and hope to help each other keep moving forward on our shared journey toward the aspirations for a sustainable future that are so beautifully laid out in the chart. So thank you.
Good morning. Between the years 1996 and 2000, the Earth Charter Drafting Committee opened an unprecedented global dialogue. They sought the perspectives of scientists, philosophers, religious and legal scholars, government representatives, hundreds of organizations, and thousands of individuals, including indigenous communities from around the world. The result was a collective effort that stands as one of the most participatory processes ever associated with the drafting of an international declaration. My name is John Hunter Nolan. I'm a documentary filmmaker, a Middlebury alum, and the grandson of Stephen Rockefeller, who chaired the Earth Charter Drafting Committee from 1996 to 2000. I'm honored to be with you all today to celebrate this milestone for the Earth Charter and to share a message that Stephen asked me to deliver on this occasion. I will now read his words to you. The Earth Charter Preamble calls on all peoples, in the midst of our diversity, to come together in the 21st century, to bring forth a sustainable global society founded on respect for nature, universal human rights, economic justice, and a culture of peace. Creating such a multicultural planetary community that cares for the people, the planet, and future generations is humanity's ultimate socioeconomic and political challenge. At the deepest level, this is a spiritual and ethical challenge. A vision of hope, the Earth Charter endeavors to set forth the core values of the emerging planetary consciousness that can drive and secure major change. On behalf of the Earth Charter Commission, I send heartfelt thanks to all of you for renewing Vermont's leadership role in supporting and celebrating the Earth Charter's vision for a better world. The celebration of the Earth Charter at Shelburne Farms, following the launch of the document 25 years ago, was truly extraordinary. In addition, Burlington was one of the first of many cities worldwide to endorse the Earth Charter. In all, 23 Vermont towns and cities, including Montpelier, adopted the Earth Charter as a guide to sustainability and planning. On a resolution submitted by the mayors of Burlington, Vermont, and Berkeley, California, the U.S. Conference of Mayors endorsed the Earth Charter in 2001. During the years I was working with the Earth Charter International Consultation and Drafting process, I was teaching at Middlebury College. The great beauty of Vermont's natural beauty and the independent, caring spirit of Vermont's people were a constant source of inspiration. The Earth Charter vision has many sources, including a special connection with Vermont. On this occasion, I would like to extend special thanks to Cammie Davis and the members of the Planning Committee, and to the presenters who will be inspiring you with innovative ideas, music, and art. Deep thanks go to Miriam Villela and
the Earth Charter Secretariat in Costa Rica, and to Michael Bracken and the Earth Charter International Council for keeping the Earth Charter flame burning over the years. As the 25th anniversary declaration issued by the ECI Council makes clear, the Earth Charter remains as relevant today as when it was first launched. I'm especially glad to learn that many of you attending the event are students and young people. Your caring, commitment, creativity, and leadership are critical. We are today in the midst of a chaotic time in world events and in the United States. A backlash against globalization and a resurgence of nationalism and authoritarianism has set in. In many quarters, Earth Charter values, including democracy and clean energy, are under attack. The harm being done is serious, and the rule of law in America is facing a severe test. However, I urge you not to give in to despair. Even though the transition to sustainable development can be slowed, it cannot be stopped if concerned citizens like those of you here renew and intensify collaborative action. The vast majority of Americans are struggling day to day economically. In keeping with the Earth Charter's holistic ethical vision, a reformed economic system that works for the many, not just the few, is essential if we expect to overcome the deep divisions in our nation and generate wide public support for the Earth Charter's ecological values. Enjoy the conference. May you be sustained by the great spirit in your work for people and Earth, our unique and beautiful, life-giving planetary home in the universe. May you find the love, wisdom, and courage to persevere in charting promising pathways forward in these challenging times. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was here yesterday setting things up and there was nobody in these chairs, and now I realize why we had so many. Welcome, welcome. We are so happy you're here and to have chosen to spend the day together in this beautiful space in celebration of the Earth and the Earth Charter. Thank you, Hunter, for reading your grandfather, Stephen Rockefeller's letter. Clearly, his vision and dedication to a grassroots and citizen-based process was essential to the creation of this document. We are here today, as Stephen Rockefeller says, to renew its vision, its hope, its core values, and the opportunity for collaborative action. Or, as the poet Maya Angelou says in her poem, On the Pulse of This Morning, to lift our hearts as each new hour holds new chances for new beginnings. A second thank you to Alec, to you and your Shelburne Farms staff for hosting us, consummate and generous hosts, decade upon decade. On behalf of the people who organized today's event, Megan and Tree, their ineffable help, we thank you for having us. "25 years ago today, more or less, sitting where you are now, I heard Paul Winter for the first time in this barn. His music, ethereal, spellbinding, and elevating of spirit, is the music of the Earth Charter. Thank you, Paul and David Haughey, for the swallows in the rafters and the thrushes in the thickets and the starlings in the sky sing alongside your sound. My name is Amy Seidl, and along with the planning committee, I welcome you today to renew your love of Earth and to celebrate the Earth Charter. Let it be a guide for many, many years to come. You have come to a pageant, nothing less, an elaborate, sometimes costumed performance and celebration meant to lift our hearts and spirits and examine our thinking. What does it mean to live an interdependent life? How do we articulate community in the very broadest sense to include the wood thrush? How can the Earth Charter help us face unprecedented challenges to justice and democracy and the essential human impulse to care for life beyond ourselves? These are the questions we'll pose throughout the day with conversation, more music, puppets, dancers, and art, as you can see before us. All necessary ingredients for a day of pageantry. I am here to set the stage. And what a stage, am I right? What a stage. Because the Earth Charter is really a piece of poetry, allow me to share a couple of abbreviated principles as part of setting that stage. Principle 1, promote a culture of tolerance, nonviolence, and peace. Recognizing that peace is the wholeness created by right relationship with oneself and other persons, other cultures, and the larger whole of which we are a part. Peace is understanding and cooperating with others. It is, as Wendell Berry once wrote, resting in the grace of the world. Principle number 4, secure Earth's bounty and beauty for generations. How many of you are here with family members? Right. Generations that are residing and sitting around us. Look at the beauty that surrounds us. Find it in the human form sitting next to you, perhaps in the winged form of the birds that will be flying through these rafters, maybe in the cosmological form of the sun in the sky. Now ask yourself, as the Earth Charter does, how can I support Earth's flourishing? How can my life be in service to bounty and beauty for generations? Number 3 principle, promote the equitable distribution of wealth within nations and among nations. Enough said. And finally, principle number 14, integrate into education the knowledge, values, and skills needed for a sustainable way of life. Use art and humanities as well as science. Instructors at the University of Vermont, Middlebury College, and other schools in the area have ensured a strong presence of young people at today's celebration. If you are a student or a young person under age 25, please raise your hand. Keep them up. Keep them up. Keep them up. Beautiful. Values like these articulated in the Earth Charter are the basis of individual and collective action. Humans act accordance with their values, their behaviors follow, and societies do too. When we value tolerance, we behave as better listeners to difference. When we value sustainability education, as Shelburne Farms does, we teach its importance in our classrooms. When we value Earth's beauty and abundance, we protect forests for migratory birds, for mushroom harvest. And when we promote the equitable distribution of wealth, we insist on limitations so that all humans can secure a livelihood. 25 years ago, in this very barn, people like us, families and students, elders and children, gathered to celebrate the Earth Charter. 25 years later, it makes sense to come together again, to hear how the Charter has made its way in the world, how it governs nations and institutions, businesses like this one, nonprofits, how universities and schools have developed curriculum around it, and how the Charter has inspired artists to express and illustrate its vision. We stood at a critical time in history 25 years ago. Today, we stand at a critical time again. And so on this fine summer day, on the pulse of this morning, as Angelou says, I encourage you to consider your own values. Link them to the principles on the banners out front. Contemplate how individually and collectively we can strive to bring our actions into accordance with them. Lift up your hearts, as the poet Maya Angelou instructed. Each new hour holds new chances for a new beginning. And then she continues, we need not be wedded forever to fear, yoked eternally to brutishness. The horizon leans forward, offering you space to place new steps of change. The stage has been set. But before we hear from our first speakers, I want to introduce a metaphor for our gathering, a performance for our pageant, one that has been a through line for the committee that has planned today. Okay, raise your hand if you've ever seen a bird fly. Keep your hand up if you've ever seen a flock. Shorebirds, robins, waxwings. Now raise your hand if you've ever seen hundreds, maybe thousands of birds wheeling and pulsing together in what is known as collective flight. Starlings do this. Shorebirds do this. Even wildebeests wheel and pulse on the land. It is known as murmuration. Can we say that word together? Murmuration. Researchers have found that European starlings murmurate, fly collectively, in flocks sometimes of 700,000. And each bird intersects with only 7 that reside around them. A proprioception conveyed through wings, see if you can do it, through wings that barely touch. Unlike flocks of geese, there is no leader. Now look around you and count off the closest 7 people. Do your wings, look for your 7. Who is influencing you today? Okay, I want to try something. This is brand new, never done before. On the count of 3 and remaining in your seat, do something. Lean left, lean right, lean forward, lean back. Repeating the action of yours or then the people around you. Go. 1, 2, 3, go. We're murmurating, everybody. We're murmurating. That went well. I didn't know how it was going to go. What we know is that in a murmuration, the movement of each bird affects and is affected by others. And a beautiful coherence, like you just saw, emerges. The telltale pattern of creatures moving in synchrony, collectively. This is the phenomenon that the Earth Charter encourages in us. Today we are a murmuration, present to the people around us, attentive to the speakers and dancers, musicians and puppeteers, cohered by a sense of belonging and an ethics of care, and the opportunity to learn how we can align our values and action together. So let's begin. For the next 20 minutes, we'll bring our attention to 2 friends and collaborators, 2 agents of Earth stewardship. Please help me in welcoming Stephen Posner, Director of the Garrison Institute, and his good friend, Tiokasin Ghosthorse.
Thanks, Amy. And thanks all. Hello. My name again is Stephen Posner, and I work with the Garrison Institute, where I'm director of the Pathways to Planetary Health Initiative. And I'm delighted to be here and to be a part of warmly welcoming you all here again. Something beautiful is happening here. Tiokasin Ghosthorse greeted me this way, speaking in Old Lakota one day. It was a welcomed reminder of the beauty in being able to greet one another at all. Tiokasin truly wishes he could be here. And the other day he said, and I quote, "I love Vermont, and I was looking forward to being able to spend time there. I am more than ready in spirit to attend this very important event." At this time, he's teaching remotely from home, so we decided it would be best to record a conversation together for this event. By way of introduction, I'll share a very short story of a question I asked Tiokasin a few years ago. We were both at a planetary health symposium held at the Garrison Institute, and I said to him, "We are learning here. What is the source of learning, of knowledge, of wisdom?" And he calmly looked me in the eyes and he said, "Earth." More recently, he elaborated, "We need to stop learning about the earth and start learning from Earth." And often his words contain layers of meaning, learning from Earth as a teacher or learning from Earth as a location here and now, right where we are. He routinely raises consciousness of language and how it conveys meaning and reflects our inner orientation. He also reminds us that for him and Native peoples here in these lands, English is a foreign language. And you'll hear him translating into English as he's speaking. Since we first met, we became friends, and then mentor and mentee. We've taught together in retreats at the Garrison Institute. I regard him as a fellow common man, also a respected elder, and like an uncle. In Spanish, I would call him Tiokasin. And today I'm honored to introduce him and hear again the words that he's given for this event. Tiokasin Ghosthorse is an author, teacher, activist, and accomplished musician. He is a member of the Cheyenne River Lakota Nation of South Dakota. Tiokasin is the founder, host, and executive producer of First Voices Radio, which has been running since 1992. In 2016, he received the nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize from the International Institute of Peace Studies and Global Philosophy. Other recent recognitions include a National Fellowship in Music from the Native Arts and Cultures Foundation and a National Heritage Fellowship with the National Endowment for the Arts. He was also awarded New York City's Peacemaker of the Year in 2013. Tiokasin is a perfectly flawed human being and a sun dancer in the cosmology of the Lakota Nation. Now, these recordings are from a long conversation that we held last week, focused on this event and love of Earth. He has given permission for us to play some clips today, and I would just like to acknowledge that this is non-traditional in Lakota culture to separate audio from the relational context of an exchange. And at the same time, Tiokasin is happy that his voice can reach your hearts despite him not being here, and we're grateful for this opportunity. So we'll hear just a few samples of Tiokasin in his recent voice, and I'll chime in to try to preserve some of the relational context, kind of like interludes on a mixtape. And if you would like, you may close your eyes or leave them open while you listen. First, Tiokasin briefly introduces himself in his first language, Old Lakota.
Thank you. It's good to be here, and just want to say, Chante washte na pe chuse apialo, le unki piki he washtelo. Mitakuya Oyasi, it's I give you my heart in a good way, and I shake my heart with you in conversation. Of course, it's always good to be here, and in all my relations. And so, a lot of these thoughts that I'll give to people, not just share, but give to people, is part of who we are really as human beings.
All my relations includes not only human beings, but Earth and all of the elements, the stars and the cosmos, and all of creation as interconnected and interdependent. Tiokasin went on to describe his indigenous view, which historically has often been excluded. And he shared about when people came here from other countries and they brought with them equipment and laws and religion, but they did not bring with them land.
And so how to treat the land was very different. How to live with the land was very different. We didn't understand ownership of land. And it may sound like I'm romanticizing, because who has had the power of writing our history thus far? We certainly haven't, because it's been in another language. So when you come among Native people, those more or less traditional, who understand the older way of thinking, not the compromised way of thinking and languages, and now we have dictionaries, it still takes more away from the actual knowing of being native here with your own land. Of course, we can talk about the history of tragedy, and now we feel sorry and sympathy, and now we'll listen, but that's still a very small percentage of what's needed to really know and live with the land, because everything's been conceptual upon the land today. And rather than peace with Earth, it has been turned into peace on Earth. And it's like a parasitical thinking. So, of course, we don't have words like environmental or nature. Because if you see, this is part of ownership. We are Earth type of mentality, which makes it easier for spiritual digestion. So, are we really Earth? And is Earth really behaving this way, the way we are treating Earth? We say references like, we're going to go sit under a tree, but the tree also gives us those elementals, like air, part of all the elementals. And how's a tree so understanding that it's following its original instruction? But think about, how are we following our original instruction? Are we close to that? Or we've taken our sciences too far? Because if you look at it, it's more of a species aggrandizement. Yeah, aggrandizement. Because we don't have the capacity and gifts of other species living with Earth. So if you look at a wildcat, there's love, and you don't go to the wild. And that's another word we don't have. So you see, it says, is how you speak about the Earth versus how you speak from the Earth, and not about Earth. You're speaking with Earth, and not about Earth. And and so all your languages are about something removed a distance, or your languages from Earth. You know, there is that difference, subtle difference, it seems like. But if you really understand, one language is for distancing. We say heaven is out there, not here. So that plays upon people about how to treat the earth. We really don't belong here, we go someplace else. But why are we here? But that takes the presence of mind, of spirit, and your consciousness needs to be here, and not in the future or the past, but here. Because that keeps us more alive, keeps the spiritual more alive, understanding where you've been, to understanding where you possibly could go, but it's all focused in the present. And I see that happening amongst all peoples now because of the reactions we have finally to what's going on with the earth because of our treatment, the one that loves us so much that there is no comprehension what love is when it comes to earth. Yeah.
So this was an organic conversation. There was no preparing, there was no reading anything. I paused at this point for a breath, and then I asked Tiokasin, when we receive living energy, or we receive life, or we receive love, what does that mean for our responsibility to give as well?
Good question. I like that. And probably I was saving the explanation, the full explanation of the word walkan. Walkan. You could say holy or sacred, but it's still not enough because that's only pertaining to human beings when people think about it because of the religion aspect. But walkan really means consciously applied mystery to everything. And when you're knowing that you will never know the answer, it propels life, because in creation, rather than creator or God, a oneness, we don't know what that means. How big is oneness? Is it our minds or the way we've been trained to think? We can all say it goes on forever. This is the closest English can get. You can say eternal. That means to me, always has been living anyway. So there's no stopping one place and accepting this is a belief system. Because if you put belief into it, you stop your thinking. And there is the idea of why do we believe and then we stay stagnated with that? It's based on hoping that the earth will change, or rather, or hoping we change, rather than following the direction of the mystery, which earth is always with. So we cannot control whether we think about we can. We cannot control natural forces, even in ourselves. In this body, we breathe and then we don't. I find that's a better way to say we are living and then we die. Such tragic, because that's selfishness. So we are breathing and then we're not. So we know energy is everywhere anyway. We can't create it. We think we can or destroy it. We think we can harness it. But what does that take? Not to get too far away from the center. And this is why we fly. And one of the ancestors of the Lakota say the center of the universe is everywhere.
Consciously applied mystery to everything, knowing that you will never know the answer. He also said later, how mystery is one of the greatest gifts humans could be given because we don't understand it, and it keeps compelling us. And we understand this awesome, mysterious presence through intuition and experience. Next, Tiokasin spoke for a few minutes about creation, spirituality, and relationship with Earth.
And now people are not following their religions, which to me is room to pay attention to our creation. And so the energy grows and grows, or we're paying attention to more, but we still wanted to put it into a churchianity. And we're still wanting to believe something is true, which is a kind of a way too, is if you believe something is true, will it become true? But knowing something is true is, I guess, the value of understanding being here now. Because everything is true. To us, it's being a present. So we understanding that I'm speaking English. I'm speaking a present phobic language. We don't want to be here. We want to be in the future. We want things to improve while Earth herself seems to be getting worse. But she's putting up, she's tolerating. And then one day she's going to have enough and she's going to need to correct the situation. And we can keep avoiding that. This is why I think the Earth Charter is very important to really understand what we are saying and what we are living, rather than hoping things will get better. So we look at, is Earth thinking through us? Is Earth feeling through us? Or we think we know what feeling is about, but do we know what Earth is about? So science has come into effect, and it has to take things apart, even affecting or thinking about spirituality, everything else that, the thousands and thousands of religions dispersed, coming up with their own way to live with this part of Earth, land, referring to Earth in your everyday language as mother, Maka'ina. The mother is Ina. It's a sound babies make Ina when they're crying, but it's also understanding the voicing of a continuance. We could say mother. Na is like and forever. So we're voicing eternity through never ending.
This is great. And finally, I asked Tiokasin, is there anything else you'd like to give or to say?
Yes, there is everything else, always. But I want to just be appreciative of you being where you're at, the people listening, and really hearing, not what's through their heart or through their ears, but with all, as every cell of us were listening. Cells, each cell, whether it's being born at the same time we are creating, or it's take its last breath, so to speak, and goes on with the same energy. So all of me, this body, not just my brain or my heart, has listened and has been appreciative of what you all are doing in gathering for Earth. Not a religion or a law, but for Earth. So you're speaking on behalf of Earth, as if you were Earth, are Earth, will be Earth. So, Akantu, the Earth's being from the ancient future now. And big thank you always for your appreciation and inclusion from a voice that, and voices of Native peoples, as I see, which is a good thing of an inclusion now, and not just some dreamy or romantic person from the past, but here aware of what's going on with Earth and ourselves. So the Earth Charter is help that gather the voices of the world. And maybe like the US Constitution, it needs updating. And we think about that one. What compels us, what propels us to continue? And that I'd like to include with a good way, a good feeling that you have given this opportunity for me to speak with all my all being, the Akantu. So, yes, that's what it is. So thank you.
Please join me in expressing gratitude. Thanks.